Я хочу сказать вам, что мы победим, что нет такой силы, которая могла бы помешать победоносному маршу свободных народов мира. Мы должны объединиться. Как русский солдат, я предлагаю вам, великим солдатам Америки, свою руку.
Hey everyone, Joe here. Well, the Migs series is starting and I'm really excited to get moving on this series. And there are a lot of aircraft. Some of you may know I love Soviet Russian aircraft. I just always thought their designs and ability with the limited resources they had, along with their simple construction, minimalist theory, was always fascinating. In the series, we will probably see different schemes other than just Russian, depending on the variant of the aircraft, as some may have exports, but we're focusing on just the MiG design themselves and not their respective countries. You'll also see something that the Russians love to do with both aircraft and tanks, and that is use the same style base and just add extra things in it and call it a new style and add a letter to the version, like a PF, PFU, MF, or AKA Mig-29. Eventually turns into the Mig-35, but it's the same as the 29K with just extra and new bits. They do this with tanks as well, for instance with the T-72 hull, as that is pretty much used for T-80s and even T-90s to this day. You'll see this once we get to the later MiGs, and if I were to do a Sukhoi series, pretty much the Su-7, 9, 11, 17, 22 all look the exact same. That is a different story for a different time. Back to the MiGs. Colors will not vary too much once we get past our initial Mig-3, as a lot are going to either be natural metal or gray. Also, I will not be uber detailing these, as I sort of want to get through them and have this series be more of a simple out-of-the-box build. Let's see what you get. So even if the kit has some minor inaccuracies, I will not be correcting them. Yes, I know I probably wouldn't anyway, as that's just not who I am, but for clarification's sake. I will be using some aftermarket parts though, as many had already been purchased throughout the years, but I do like mask, quintessets, resin wheels for a good standard base of aftermarket, along with like pitot tubes, metal pitot tubes, and things like that. So let's start off with our first aircraft in the series here, and that is the Mig-3, as you can see here. The Mig-3 was a high-altitude interceptor with a mixed wood and metal construction, armed with machine guns and capable of carrying bombs or rockets. Despite its advanced design, though, the Mig-3 faced numerous challenges. Its performance was mixed, it was fast, and had good high-altitude capabilities, but suffered from poor maneuverability at lower altitudes and frequent mechanical issues. Okay, now that is out of the way, let's get to building this kit and see what we can do. But before we do, here are some of the reference materials I'm also going to be using. The Squadron Early MiG Fighters book and the Mig-3 Aces of World War II, which will be digital, along with my good buddy Ben Build's video where he built up this same exact kit. And again, I'm going to focus the series will be more of overall aesthetics of the aircraft as it'll look on the shelf. You can see we do have some aftermarket bits. We have the Quinta exhaust set. We do have the res kit wheels. These are good to have around. They fit both the Yak 7, Yak 9, LA 5 and 7, the Lag 3, I-85. I'd like to get an I-85. Then, of course, we have a mask. I believe I am getting a PE set for the cockpit for this, just so I can have the instrument panel. So that'll be good. Here's our clear bits and pieces. Everything in bags, as you can see here. And again, if you want a really nice detailed review, go over to my buddy Ben's channel at Ben Builds and check his out, as he did go through this kit a little bit better than what I'm doing right now to save time. Overall, a really good looking kit. I do know we're going to run into some fit issues here and there, but it shouldn't be too bad. And we are most likely going to do this black nose. And I'm going to try and paint the markings on. If I can get my Cricut cutter, figure it all out, just sits around without me ever learning how to do it, then I think that's the one we're going to do. Simple build to start off with, and I want to try and modulate it so that there's a different tone on the wood parts than it is on the aluminum, and you can kind of see that here as well. But keeping it all one video, we'll come back throughout it, kind of update on that, and then present the final. All right, everyone, just gonna do a little break here to show you what we've gotten taken care of. And we shaved off some sides so that our PE can get in there once we're done painting. It is painted PE photo etched, so it's good and bad, right? Because now I have to wait till the very end to put that in and all of that. But no wiring on this, just keeping it simple. But let's see here, got a little bit of the PE in, PE on the foot pads. Can't really see, but you know, good detail. And earlier, one of the stands, one of the legs for the chair, went flinging off. So I was glad I was able to find that and recover that. That was quite literally about 3 minutes into the build, 5 minutes into the build. So you have this side, which again will have the PE going there, and at the bottom, and we got some our PE wheels in there. And our instrument panel is completely shaved off, ready for that PE after we paint it. Now the colors we're going to be using for the interior are going to be AK Real colors, and we're going to use A14. A lot of glare from the lights, I know. But let's get back into it. Let's get this going and probably come back once it's all said and done with the PE on it. All right, everyone. So a couple things here. You've seen me at this point, but want to explain a few things. One, obviously we're in paint. We have our markings on, and some of it has a gloss coat. Let me kind of tell you what happened up to here. Backstory, my good buddy Ben and I did a series called Adversaries and Rivalries years back. The first one we did was Mig-3 versus F-86 Sabre. And I started with the Mig-3. It was the trumpeter kit. Wretched, horrible kit. And I know I usually say that, but when Ben got to his, you can go watch his video. He says the same thing. It was a horrible, horrible kit, and it cursed us. We joke around about it. We call it the curse of the Mig, because anything that could go wrong on the kit would go wrong. But not just that, it would be everything on the bench. Anything else you were building, weird stuff would just start happening. You'd spill bottles of paint that you've never done that before. You've lost parts. It was just, we called it the curse of the Mig, and it lived on for like a few different builds, honestly. And it was horrible. We still joked about it today. So even back in the beginning of this video, I think I even said, hopefully this won't be a reincarnation of the curse of the Mig, being that it's a Mig-3. Well, the curse lives on. It's not the kit. The kit's been fantastic and it's been great. But the curse still exists. Why do I say that? One, I had to cut out a lot of footage. I've been recording and recording and recording for you all. And at some point during those recordings, I noticed it was taking a long time to remux the video. Okay, from an MKV to I use OBS, from an MKV to an MP4. And it was taking like 30 minutes for a 6-minute video. That's not right. And then I started going back and watching all the videos, and they're super choppy, like extremely choppy, almost like a slideshow choppy kind of. It was bad. And apparently what had happened is at some point, OBS switched my remux/rendering output from the graphics card, which y'all render videos, do editing, etc. You always want to use your graphics card. You never want to use a CPU to render videos or do things in Photoshop, stuff like that, right? So it switched it to the CPU with I had no clue. So we lost a lot of footage, okay? Curse of the Mig, part 1. Part 2, I decided I wanted to paint on the markings and use my Cricut. But for whatever it is, whatever reason, I have this inability to use the Cricut cutter and software. I am extremely highly technical. I can say that with confidence. And there's some mental block for me to be able to use the Cricut. So I reached out to Ben, who's done it before, and he helped me out. He sent me a file to use for the mask for this particular thing, and the 17 and the stars. And I tried to use it, and I was just getting frustrated. I couldn't get the mask to sit on correctly. Everything was wonky. It was crooked. It was blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I'm done. I'm just going to use the decals. At that point, everything was painted. We are in a gloss coat. Just put the decals on and let's move on. Then I got up at 3 in the morning the next day, and I took my time. I was a little bit more mellow. Got the mask to lay down the way they needed to lay down, and proceeded to mask off and paint the markings. Perfect. Then I added just a little bit of hairspray, chipping fluid, I should say, because I want to fade and chip these up a little bit so they don't look new. Did that, let that dry, pinned on the markings. Everything looked really good. Pulled off the masks, and it left extreme blemishes in the paint, almost like I thought it was residue, but it turned out it's not residue. I don't know if the chipping fluid ate into the paint underneath, which would be rare because it's AK Real Colors. It's an acrylic lacquer. It even pulled up some of the paint, which it has. You guys saw it. It has Mr. Surfacer primer on it, lacquer paint. Paint should not be getting pulled up from Tamiya masking tape, okay? Tamiya masking tape. That's what I use to cut the stencils. I have no clue what the hell happened except for Curse of the Mig. So I've touched up, as you can see, I sanded it back, which is why you see the light areas, and I've touched it up where I can. It's still a little rough. I would not get way close to this thing. But hopefully what we're going to do is get our wash on there and then put our VMS, probably I might do a flat coat or a satin coat first. Then we'll do some chipping. And hopefully the VMS varnish, which is a lifesaver a lot of times, will help to cover up all these blemishes and kind of smooth it in. But you can see I do have my decals on, and I got them chipped up a little bit. Also, all my lighting's screwed up now too inside of OBS, so I have to go back through and change all that, but I wasn't going to do that. I've been trying to make this video. But yeah, all in all, it's not looking too bad. Like I said. Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep on keeping on. We're going to come back, get it weathered up. I think we're just going to do a final and get some pics up there and be good. So I'll be back. All right, everyone. We are back with the final picks here. And I gotta tell you, it didn't come out completely the way I wanted, but it's great. It's pretty good. Rushed it in a few areas. Again, we had some mishaps with the paint, and you can tell this is why I don't chip things very often. I go way overboard. I use the AK pencil, the aluminum pencil, which was pretty cool, but I just went to town and started chipping everything that was aluminum on this aircraft, or everything that was metal that I could chip. And it's a little much. I get it, but it's definitely a used bird. The painted on markings came out pretty good. They're faded. I like that look. There's a lot to this that I really, really love. Underside isn't done up too much. I put, some dust on it, some grime. The exhaust on the side, I was looking through references because I was like, I don't see a lot of exhaust streaking on these Migs. So I looked it up and I was checking some references, and a lot of them I saw, it didn't show up very well, or it wasn't real prominent. So I decided to keep that real subtle. Again, the over chipping, I think, really draws your eye from everything, but in the long run, I'm pretty happy with this Mig-3. Turned out pretty good. A simple kit. The curse was hanging around there a little bit here and there, but it was a lot of fun. Next up, we're going to be digging into the Mig-9, and that's going to be a 1/72nd scale kit, and it's a crappy MRM kit, something like that. We'll do it. We'll go over it in the video, but we'll be digging into that one next. And this one was okay. Yeah, it's a good looking Mig-3. Did some other little things here, tried some things along the way, and that's really what it's all about right now for me. Just trying out some extra techniques and putting a nice little Mig-3 on the shelf. So I hope you all enjoyed this first Mig in the series. I hope you continue to watch the series. If you have a comment, please feel free to leave a comment. Got suggestions, that's great too. And until next time, everyone, I hope you're doing well. I hope you're staying safe. Take care.